Well, it wouldn't be another week of indoor and arena football without some craziness happening over the last couple of days. You know, man, where do we begin, brother? Where do we begin? I don't know where to begin. You know, Michael Beloga, sorry, buddy. You know, it is what it is. You just, yeah, you've been cut. So, Fisher's got a new kicker, which is really, really, really funny. Um, I don't know how to feel about all of that. This this conundrum that we're in, like Iowa is bad. We know that. We know Iowa's bad. We know Arizona probably might lose maybe one game, maybe two. I don't know. There's a lot of muck. Jacksonville's pretty good too. Tucson, they can get it together, but they need the right pieces. I don't think they have the right pieces. We're talking about the IFL first, obviously, because I want to talk about the IFL first. Green Bay Tulsa was amazing. I mean, that game went to overtime. That, is how you silence haters of the indoor arena football scene. That is how you silence the haters with 78, excuse me, not 78, 74-68 game. That is how you silence the haters right there. That is beautiful, beautiful stuff from Green Bay getting that victory over Tulsa. Now, again, the East is a lot more competitive than the West right now. Like I said, Bay Area, it's good. Everybody's trying to catch up to Arizona, though. San Antonio had their match, against Arizona this weekend. That did not work out too well. And going forward, I think the IFL network is justified. I was 50-50 on it at the beginning of the season, but, now I'm going to justify it on it because the NAL YouTube channel got terminated this past weekend. Of course, that wasn't the only thing that happened in the NAL this past weekend, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Now, the league was like, okay, it's not copyright, reasons as to why. There's really no other reason than copyright. There's really no other reason than copyright. That is why the NAL's channel would be terminated. The Right Now deal has not been the best to them so far. In fact, a couple games have been switched. Like there'd be issues, for example, with one of the games this past weekend. There was a big issue where we could not see the game for a good chunk of the game. Could not see it. Right Now said, all right, we're gonna do like clubs or billiards or tennis or whatever. We're gonna switch to that instead. And that's been the reoccurring issue in the NAL right now. Because Right Now TV is probably had enough with the shenanigans, the streaming has been, kind of iffy. It is what it is. The IFL's gotten their stream centralized. They're probably going to make a profit this year. Maybe not. Who knows? We'll see. Yeah, we had a couple of exhibitions. Las Vegas Kings played. Look, the Las Vegas Kings played, guys. They played. They actually played. Maybe it was an omen, the Arizona Bandits died because Chris Wallace says he will take his team and show up. They will show up. And they got smacked around by Colorado. Now, Vegas has another game against Idaho later on in a couple weeks, so that's probably going to be the same thing. Shreveport also had a preseason, a non-league opponent, which they beat the brakes off of. Idaho's very slow offense was somehow able to come up with a victory against Carolina. And, of course, the big one, Beaumont, which had played in over a month and was the cause of the streaming issues, to be quite honest with you. That was what I was alluding to. Beats the Omaha Beef with new head coach Brandon Groen, just kind of I'm shell-shocked. Omaha, has lost twice, in the past 6 weeks. Yes, one of those was to a non-league team, but still, a loss is a loss. You cannot deny that now. Beaumont has beaten beating multiple teams this year. They're winning games, guys. They're winning games. Nitty gritty at the end of the day, it got so intense to the Omaha Beef Coaches Show, which I did not know Todd Walkenhorst was on that show, to be quite honest with you. I was like, hang on, I know that voice. What's Todd doing there? And that's probably what he did. That's probably what he did. He said, can't be the NAL commissioner, so I'm gonna go do this with the Coaches Show. So not surprised. So him, Negron, and Ricky Burtz were just going on and on. Like, why are we comparing arena and indoor football to terrorists of the Trump kind, to say the least? If you follow me on Twitter, I'm not a big Trump fan. I'm not a big U.S. government fan in the first place. So, just keeping it out there. But what was the point of this? What does this have to do with the game that you just lost? And I get they were trying to make analogies and everything like that, but still, the adjustments were not made. This Beef team still lacks something. They lack the dominance that they had, and they do not have that anymore. In fact, games have been very close this year. They do not have what they're supposed to have. And it is what it is. Can you blame the Beef? Not particularly. Not particularly. Why don't we go to the AF1 now, in which you had 3 very, very ugly games. I'm telling you, Corpus Christi beating the brakes off of Washington was unnecessary. Like, the way that game went, just completely and totally unnecessary. It was close for a little bit, but, Corpus pulled away. And then the big one, Albany Billings, the Firebirds had like 5 plays, like in like the first 15 minutes of the game, and they had 5 touchdowns. Billings made way too many mistakes. They looked amateurish out there. And they have a rematch this coming week in Billings. So, Firebirds look like the team to beat, and that's the way it's going to be. And then Southwest Kansas Salina, it's just sad watching the Salina Liberty play football. They're playing like an indoor team. You want to be an arena team, right? You got to stop playing like you're indoors. You know what I'm saying? You got to stop playing like you're, indoors. I don't get it, man. It's just rough, Teams like Nashville are getting better, But Nashville didn't play this week. You had to watch Southwest Kansas Salina. We had to watch Corpus Christi, Washington. We had to watch Billings Albany. Billings Albany was supposed to be the game of the year, regardless. At least the first one anyway. But instead, it was an absolute dud of a weekend for the AF1. But yet, the AF1 is in a nice place. They're in a nice place to where they can say, we spotted another week. We got what we needed to do. There's even been viewership numbers. Of like, I think it was like, one Nielsen rated thing was like, hey, there were like 13,000 people watching this AF1 game, like from a couple weeks ago. I don't know the Nielsen ratings now, but it's actually kind of cool. Kind of cool. Which I don't think I talked about this on the channel, but I do want to talk about it now because it's here. It happened. AL. Where do I even begin? Because, the Michigan Avengers just shut out Pittsburgh, Mississippi won, the Georgia Indians won big, what else? What else happened in the AL too? Oh, yeah, the Jersey Bearcats, they won, against the Jersey Roughnecks. So, forgive me if I was just like, I'm just gonna roll with it and say they're both Jersey, but one's the Jersey we all know and love, and the other's the other Jersey that we know and have seen for quite some time now. And again, the Michigan Avengers, they have, been around. They've been playing some pretty good football, over the past year. Good for them. The AL2 isn't that bad. The Maryland Eagles, they're still around. They beat Steel City. Yeah, they're still around. They're still kicking. Um, and last but not least, I guess I'll talk about the EAF real quick. So again, the EAF is doing their thing with Don Montero, just doing their own thing at this point. And basically, this year we're fighting to see who will be the number two behind West Michigan. We're basically fighting to see who will be the number two. Coralville beat Cedar Rapids by 2. Again, games have been much more competitive lately, which is crazy from a league where West Michigan's in. Which I mean, can you be completely serious? Can you be completely serious and tell me that West Michigan strikes fear into somebody's heart? No, they don't strike fear into anybody's heart. They don't strike fear into my heart. They don't strike fear into yours. And they shouldn't strike fear into too many teams. Quite to be quite honest with you. But yeah, this week was weird. And it kind of culminated with the stuff that happened after the games. This weekend. The NAA YouTube channel being terminated. It's back up now, but as of the time of this recording, I think there may be one video up. Let's check. Let me check real quick. Actually, no, it's not there. It's still not there. Hold up. They might still be fighting, y'all. They might still be fighting, but let me see. National Arena League. Maybe they started a new channel? Question mark? I don't see it. I just don't see it, baby. Oh wait, here we go. I don't. Maybe they made a new channel. I don't know. There's a National Arena League channel. I don't know, man. I just looked it up on my phone, so I don't know. From me to you, hope y'all enjoy a lot of football this weekend. A lot of football happened. It was great, and the IFL, the NAL, the AF1, AAL2, AIF, everybody fed me this weekend. Coupled with the UFL2, I was fed this weekend. This is how you feed a football hungry person like myself. I don't break down games like that. I don't go into 90-minute, analysis about games. But it's really, really funny, again, that Fishes has made some of the adjustments that they've made, and some other teams have made the adjustments they made and haven't been working out. Again, it's a long season. Players continue to do what you do best, which is get that film into these agents and teams so that they can sign you. And to everybody else, keep rocking. We're going to keep on rocking. The season continues to roll on. Another week of indoor football begins Thursday night, and it will continue all the way through the rest of the weekend as usual. Happy Easter. Happy Good Friday. If you don't see me before then, but you will see me before then because we have other stuff to talk about this week. So I'm going to let y'all go and enjoy this and see you soon.